Hello guys and welcome back to today's video. Today is Monday, April 12, 2021, and today I'm going to take a look at how to gerrymander, or how to manipulate democracy. Here you see a map of Illinois 4th Congressional District, which is gerrymandered and has a weird shape. It gives a hint about what gerrymandering is about. So what is gerrymandering? At its essence, gerrymandering is about redistricting efficiently. Redistricting is when the authorities decide to redraw a district boundary. For example, in the United States, each decade there is a census. For example, the 2000, 2010, or 2020 census. In those censuses, as the population moves from state on state, the districts are redrawn, and some states get more districts or lose districts. This is the perfect occasion to redistrict, to change the district boundary. When we say efficiently, we mean that redistricting is optimized by logical strategies such as mathematics or even algorithms. There was a Republican strategist who was from North Carolina. His name is Thomas Hoffler, and he once said, "Usually the voters get to pick the politicians. In redistricting, the politicians get to pick the voters." This is a typical characteristic of gerrymandering, and you will understand why. Finally, gerrymandering is based on two principles that I will explain. Here you will see a map of Maryland 3rd Congressional District. Maryland 3rd Congressional District. This congressional district is gerrymandering. As you can see, it has a weird shape. It is obviously gerrymandering. However, do you think that Nebraska 3 congressional districts are gerrymandered? Well, they are not gerrymandered. Even if they look a little bit weird, they are not gerrymandered. If you look at the 2nd congressional district from Nebraska, which is here labeled in orange at the left of the screen, you can see, if you take another map of Nebraska, that it corresponds to the location of Omaha, which is the biggest city in Nebraska. How does that matter? Well, the Democratic Party, which is one of the major political parties in America, the Democratic Party tend to gain more votes toward the urban areas, which mean the cities. Now, in order to gerrymander, you will need a paper, a pencil, and an eraser, as well as a map outlining political ideologies in your territory. For example, let's say your territory is the US. You will probably need a map like this one, which outlines how every single county voted in the 2020 election. I just want to note here that this region here has voted Democratic, and if we look at the other map that we showed before, this is the part of Omaha, the 2nd congressional district of Nebraska, which happened to vote for the Democratic Party in the 2020 presidential election. 49%. This is a big percentage. What does that represent? Well, it represents the maximum percentage of votes that your opponent can waste if you manage to pack. So, 49%, that's a lot of votes. How do you pack? Well, in order to pack, and before to pack, you need to understand one simple principle that applies almost only in the winner-take-all system. This principle is simple. Whatever amount of votes above the required margin opposing party gets, he will only get the single vote of a district. This might sound complicated, but it is not. For example, let's take District A. Now we have elections in District A. If your opponent manage to get over 51%, he will win this District A single vote in representation. But there is something weird. If your opponent wins 51%, he will win one vote. If he wins 99%, one vote. Whatever amount of percentage above 51% he gets, he will win 1 vote. So we can say that if he has, for example, 100% of persons voting for him in District A, 49% of those votes will be wasted and will not serve in other districts that would otherwise be competitive. This is the same percentage, and it is not something that we see oftenly. Well, this percentage represents the same percentage as the other one did. However, as you can see here, instead of labeling the maximum percentage of votes your opponent can waste by if you pack, it labels this percentage that your opponent can waste if you crack. So cracking must be similar to packing, right? Well, not really. Cracking is all about minimizing your wasted votes. If we do a summary, we understand that 1. Packing is about wasting more of the opponent's votes, when cracking is about reducing your amount of votes. If you win District A by only 51% of votes, then the 49 left percent they serve to nothing. They have no purpose, given the fact that the vote goes for you only. Here are some examples of gerrymandering. The last example, which is found in a game that you can find online on gametheorytest.com/gerry. Here, I like this example because it outlines what is the city population. Here I would say around 55% red. So that would mean that logically and representatively, red should win in representation, which is here district vote. Well, the thing you will find here is that instead of red winning, it's blue. Why is that? Well, because blue has used mathematics, because blue has perhaps used algorithms, because blue has managed to use the 2 principles. First principle, packing. You see those two districts all packed. You don't have any blue voters. All of the districts, you have 2 votes wasted, because in a district where you have 5 persons, you only need 3 to win district. This is the majority required. Well, 5 minus 3 equals 2, which means that in those districts, 2 votes were lost for each district, which is already 4 votes lost. Here we can also see the same thing, where you have those votes wasted, and wasted. What you can remark is that here the blue only won district 1, 2, 3 by the thinnest required margin. Blue here did not win district 1, 2, 3 with 4 votes, with 5 votes, but only with 3 votes, which is the minimum required amount. Here on the right you will find an example that you can find in Wikipedia. This example can show how a population that is majority in population can also be overrepresented. For example, here we see yellow is 60% in population. However, do you think it is fair that yellow gets 100% representation when only having 60% population? Do you think it's fair, at the contrary, that green gets 60% representation with 40% population? Here there are, however, proportional outcomes, and here in this exact outcome we can understand a simple order principle. If every single vote is packed, then packing has no effect, absolutely no effect. So, do you think gerrymandering is a good method? Do you think it is fair that yellow gets more votes than it should, or that green gets less votes than it should? Do you think that the politicians should pick the voters instead of the voters picking the politicians. I hope you understand what gerrymandering is. I also hope that now when you see a map that is gerrymandered, you will understand it is. And I hope you have a great day. So, thanks for watching.